I've got to say, this is turning out pretty strange, this election campaign. You're sitting there desperately trying to convince voters that you're not going to go with Labor, and Chris Hipkins does this massive favour for you. Was this a jack-up between the two of you?
You could be excused for thinking that, but no, I said it a long, long time ago when I discovered that they'd hidden critical material from me when I was Deputy Prime Minister and in coalition with them, and I made it very, very clear. So it's just in a time warp, but I've never seen a time when, how shall I say, we've been the beneficiary of so much publicity, not of our own making. One party's been putting us all over the hoardings, and that's the greatest value for money I've never spent. And along comes Hipkins, and he has a whole press conference, and all of a sudden everybody's talking about something that I said a long, long time ago.
And I'll be honest, I had no intention of having you on the program this morning, but Chris Hipkins made you the story of the morning in a lot of ways. Yeah. A couple of people have described this. This is like when you break up with your girlfriend and she says, no, I left him first. I thought he was stink before he dumped me. Why do you think he has done it?
Well, actually, funny enough, that's the level of comedy and humour around this whole farce. He stops and has a press conference yesterday, and just before I went to my New Plymouth meeting at 1 o'clock, the media all started ringing up because they were telling me he's going to denounce you. And I thought, excuse me, you've been sacked a long time ago, Chris, because of your racist policy, so what are you announcing? So my point really is basically, it's sad, 5 weeks before special voting starts, that we're wasting our time with this sort of conversation when we should be talking about our economic and social recovery.
Now, Chris Hipkins was happy to sit around a cabinet table with you, 2017 to 2020?
Well, be honest. If it wasn't for New Zealand First and the failed negotiations with National, you'd have never heard of Chris Hipkins again. Or dare I say it, Jacinda Ardern, because they weren't much good in opposition, were they?
Yeah.
And so the real point is, I wish they'd just get on with telling the public what they're going to do and leave out the schoolboy juvenile behaviour.
It is amazing after 6 years, Winston, that they would rather campaign on what they're not or what people shouldn't vote for rather than what they are and what they've done.
Well, it's not so strange when you realise that they've made so many promises, but what did they actually deliver themselves? And I can tell you what we delivered. We changed New Zealand Aid. We got the Defence Force back in provision. We got Kiwi Rail back on track when it was run down by National. We got the Conventional Growth Fund, and in 50 years from now, you'll still see great things that have happened there. We did so many darn things, and yet, what have they got to campaign on? And the reason why they're being so contrary and so obtuse and so bitter about things is that they can't campaign on their record. And just to make sure they can't, he had the bonfire, you remember, when he took over, Chris Hipkins had the bonfire of all those policies they tried to negotiate and get through, which was stopped in the first place. So silly.
Yeah, the other rhetoric he has used is that people that, and you certainly have done well in the last 3 months, we can see the polls reflect that. He says you've done that by promoting hatred, division, hatred against transgender people. He's called you racist and says you've promoted racism. It's a little bit like Hillary Clinton and the deplorables. He's kind of taking a moral stand against you and your newfound support.
Look, begin with the question of racism. No, I haven't. What New Zealand First has said all its time in 30 years and me all my career was that there's one standard for this country and we're all equal. We're one country. We're called New Zealanders first. Now, the second thing is, when he says these other things about hating these people and hating those people, no, I don't. But I will defend the right of women and girls to go to that toilet of their own choice and not be shocked and frightened, as happened in other parts of the world and this country as well. And the other things that they're arguing about at this point in time is really a personality now, a bitterness, because they're on a hiding to nothing. They're politically failed. So what's in it for us now? And in terms of, forget about their slogan, but we want a far better government. We want a much better government going forward and stability in New Zealand because we've dropped back so far and we are in a worsening recession now. Much worse a recession than we thought we were.
Yeah.